Welcome back to episode 2 of Driven2Change. I'm here with Brandon Saho.
Episode 2.
Episode 2.
All right, this is big. I'm not number 1. I'm number 2.
No, not number 1, number 2. Brandon went to Lesalle High School and then West Virginia for college.
And then UC.
The creator of the Mental Game podcast. We're on a set today. And if you want to introduce yourself, Brandon.
Yeah, no, Cincinnati kid through and through. Went to Lesalle, UC. Had a brief stint at West Virginia, a little bit of a partier there, so dropped out. Went back to UC, graduated, but was a sports reporter for a long time. That's how our paths crossed. Yep. I used to call your buzzer beaters a few years ago when you were in high school. Now you're an adult or close to it.
Adult 21 recently.
Yeah, you're 21. Congrats on the beverages and everything. But yeah, no, I just big sports guy. And then like you, and I know we'll get into this, kind of went through my own mental health struggles and realized other people did too. So I wanted to create a safe space people could talk about it. And so that's where the mental game came from.
First thing I want to go into, what made you want to start doing sports broadcasting and get into that field of work?
Yeah, I just knew I wasn't going to go to like the NFL or NBA, right. But I love sports, specifically college sports. I just was obsessed with watching football on Saturdays, and I'll never forget, and people that are your age might not know, I think I might have asked your team this when we were talking at Turpin. Do you remember, like, you know what a VCR is, right?
No, no.
You don't know what a VCR is?
The tapes?
Yeah. Okay, that was close. So when I was 12, which would have been, 2006, I brought a TV. It was like 12 inches with a VCR built in, a camcorder, and a microphone to a 7th grade football game and pretended like I was broadcasting the game. I wish I could find that tape, but that's just when I knew that it's what I wanted to do. I was just a huge sports fan and was lucky to, cover teams like the Saints, LSU, and then like the dream for me was to come home. I got to do that for 5 years. Covering high school teams like yours, but getting to do the Bengals, the Reds, UC, FCC, Xavier, like it was so cool, and I loved it so much. It's a really competitive field, but if you can get into it and like find your groove, it is really, really rewarding. The fact that you get to do things that you dream of as a kid. I mean, obviously you dream of like catching the Hail Mary in the NFL. I didn't do that, but like I was on the sideline when those happened. That was cool.
What were some of those experiences like covering, LSU, the Bengals, all those big sports teams? Like, what were some of your favorite moments during that time?
Yeah, I'll start with LSU. Like the first time, Tiger Stadium is like 102,000 people. It's packed every Saturday. It's one of, if not the best venue in college sports. And there's this little tunnel that you walk out of to get on the field. It's the same one the team runs out of. They hit the wind bar above them. And it's like the size of a normal door. And then you just walk out and there's 100,000 people.
Right.
The SEC football scene is so crazy. All the sports there. I mean, baseball, they had 12,000 a night. That was awesome. But getting to come home and like cover the teams that I love, that was amazing. The biggest one for me, the best memory will be that 2021 season when I got to cover the Bengals going to the Super Bowl. And, that's when all my tough stuff was happening with mental health. But like just in those tiny moments, they were crazy. Like I remember after Evan McPherson kicks the ball through against the Chiefs, I run onto the field. Travis Kelce's, crying, walking by me. I get onto the field. Coach Taylor gives me like a hug at the 50-yard line. Like I helped them win the game somehow. The first person I interviewed was Jamar Chase. He's tearing up to me because he's going to the Super Bowl as a rookie. Like I just kind of looked around and like, man, this is what I've dreamed of since I was a kid. This is really cool to do. So those are probably like the big highlights for me. But I'll be honest, like just obviously the relationship with coaches and players are really special. That I got to interview these big names, but the fans and like getting to meet them and have relationships with people that are at every game and sit in the same seats and they know that you're going to be there on the field and wave to each game or like just give you a hug. Just things like that I like the most, just being in that sports environment.
Right. So you've talked a lot about your mental health and obviously with this podcast helping a lot of people. What made you kind of shift gears and go to a podcast route instead of, sports reporting and doing that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I think for me, it was just my own personal struggle where, like, I know you know this, but I was suicidal for about 3 or 4 months during that Bengals Super Bowl run, and no one knew. I had lost 3 family members. Woman that I thought was going to marry her and I were going through a toxic breakup, really relationship looking back on it. I hit a rock bottom where I had to check into a hospital and get help and realize that I could take care of my mental health, but a lot of other people struggle with the same things that I struggled with. And so I went back to work. I just didn't have that same passion anymore, which surprised me because I love being a sports reporter. But I realized there wasn't a safe space for the athletes that I covered or bigger names to talk about mental health. And so for me, it was a leap of faith. It still kind of is. I'm about 1.5 years into it. and it's been really, really cool to see it grow. It's still a grind. Before we started this, I've been emailing managers and publicists all day, getting no's, but like that's just the name of the game. But what's cool for me is to see, one, it helps me. It's part of my healing journey. But number two, to see it help other people. Like we just did the tour where we had, we were in 30 states in 30 days, so many thousands of people we were able to meet and touch and talk to, and just to realize that you're not alone. Other people go through it. That's what inspires me to keep doing this, even though I might not be getting the biggest paycheck in the world. I might be working 12 hours every day, working every weekend, but I know it's paying off for everyone else, and it'll pay off for me too.
No, I agree. That's kind of why I started mine. Even I kind of got inspiration from you.
Well, thank you. That makes me feel good.
Yeah, I got inspiration from you, seeing what you were doing, and I thought it was really cool. And after I posted that article and you reached out and talked to me about it, I was like, let's try to do it.
Yeah, for sure.
Let's see where it goes.
Well, I give you a lot of credit because, your generation is being comfortable talking about it. I interview people that are usually my age, around my age, or way older, and none of us heard about this in school. We never talked about it. So the fact that you at 20 years old started talking about it publicly, I work with high school and college kids all the time. And it's they are some of the most inspirational people. People can talk crap all they want about, millennials or Gen Z or whatever this generation is. I don't know. But they are changing the way that we talk about mental health. And so when you posted that one, I had no idea. Just people I didn't have any idea. When I went through mine, you're this kid that was a stud athlete at Turpin, hit all these shots. Remember when I saw it, I was just kind of shocked. And I'm friends with your sister, and just said wanted to check in. But yeah, I give you a lot of credit for stepping up and saying something, because you posting that helped a lot of people, and doing this now is going to continue to help even more.
Yeah. Well, I thank you for that.
Yeah, for
Give me credit for that. So you just recently went on a tour, 30 states for 30 days.
Yeah.
Which sounds like a lot. Sounds like a stressful time.
It was.
You were at LSU with Joe Burrow's parents. You were here in your hometown. A lot of cool venues. What were some of your highlights of that trip, and what impact do you think you made on other people around the country?
Yeah, it was the craziest, stupidest idea I've ever had in my life. It took a lot to map out. I just put dates on Instagram, and two months later we were starting it.
Right.
And so a lot of high schools, colleges, nonprofits reached out, wanted to be a part of it, but it was about as organic as you can get. I drove all 80 hours, 5,300 miles in my Jeep Cherokee, put some good mileage on it.
Yeah.
But it was really a dream come true thing for me, just to see how we could help so many people, big and small. There would be some events where it'd be 10, 20 people. There were other events where it was 2,000, 3,000 people. You mentioned the one at LSU. I used to be a sports reporter there, as we said. So getting to calling Joe's parents and asking them to come down, and they were so open to it, and Joe's foundation, and then all these NFL players that played at LSU, or, a gymnast, and then seeing the community fill the arena. It was just so surreal, but so awesome. And for me, same thing here in Cincinnati, same thing in West Virginia, same thing in every state. What stuck out the most was that my favorite thing to hear people say is, I've never told anybody this before.
Right.
Or I've never said this out loud. And I always stay and do a free meet and greet, and it always be it might be 5 people. It might be 150 people. I'll stay there and talk to everybody. But every single event, somebody would admit that they are actively suicidal, have never told anybody, but after hearing me tell my story and talk about getting help, they want to get help now. And that's inspiring to me. That's awesome. That's exactly why I do it. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist or therapist, but I want to help connect them to the resources that can help them. And so it's sad that I hear that every time I speak or do an event. I'm about, I don't know, where am I going next week? Maine, or I don't know. I'm going to Maine, Nashville, and somewhere out, New York and Pennsylvania in the next couple of weeks. And each time I speak, that'll happen. But what's amazing is that we're building so many resources around them and opening them up to having that conversation just from a podcast. Just because it's conversational now. That's been the thing that stuck out to me the most, especially on the tour.
Okay. And I watched a few of your episodes this past week, just studying.
You finally did?
Well,
I'm kidding. It's a joke. It's a joke.
But I was keeping up. And you asked this one question. I want to ask you, what does mental health mean to you?
It's what I start the show with.
Right.
And people always ask me this when I go on their shows or their podcast. And now I understand how hard of a question it is to answer. For me, it's, you know, loving yourself and being the best you that you can be. It sounds corny, but like since I was 14 to, I don't know, a year ago, I didn't really enjoy myself or like who I was or like being alone. And so for once, I'm happy just like being me. And so I used to get all hung up about feeling alone or being depressed, and I get suicidal. And now it's like you're searching for other people or other things to make you happy when like, look, you can, it's another cliche in sports, especially, like control what you can control.
Right.
We hear it a million times, but it's a cliche for a reason. Like if you just focus on what you can control and what you can do and how you can better yourself each day, if you want to ask, like if you need to reach out for help, go do that. Like just finding that way to make yourself the best version of you. I think, I don't know, it's a hard question to answer.
It's a hard question. When I was watching your podcast,
people do a great job answering it.
Some people do a great job. I watched the one with Kyle. He did a pretty good job answering that. But you know, it is a hard question. I want you to talk about a little bit how you dealt with your mental health when you were going through that hard time.
Yeah.
What things helped, what things didn't, and how did you overcome it, you know, in the end?
Yeah. Well, one thing, like, I guess you can overcome it and work on it, but it's like it's not like a fight that you win.
Right.
It's like an ongoing thing you always have to check in on. I used to say that all the time, and I had people correct me, and I'm like, oh, okay, that makes sense. Am I like, can I just be open on this? Okay. I just didn't know. I want to make sure I'm not going.
You can say whatever.
Okay, cool. Yeah, no, I would go through it. I struggled. I was an alcoholic for 8 years. Hit a year sober, like I guess a month ago now. But like turned to alcohol, drained myself in that, which is literally a depressant. So it makes you more depressed by definition. Struggled with that, just the alone feeling. You know, there was a lot of nights of walking home drunk from bars and, you know, sitting on the bridge or, you know, I wrote a goodbye letter and, you know, took pills one day, like different things that I really struggled with. And I'm not trying, you know, I'm just trying to give a picture of kind of where I was at. And eventually, just after years of that happening, you know, off and on every month or two, to it happening every single day for 3 or 4 months, I finally had to reach out for help. And like, it was scary. It was tough. People had no idea when they saw me on TV smiling or tweeting something funny or sports, but like, I really didn't want to live anymore. And so getting that help and being open to it and realizing it's not rocket science. You're just not taught it. Like I was saying before, your generation, thank God, is starting to get it. And the kids younger than us or younger than you, I'm an adult, or you're an adult too, but like, I'm just in a different category.
You're a little bit older.
Yeah. Thanks for that. I teach a class at UC, and I was like asking different things yesterday at class, and the kid's like, yeah, that's when I was born. I'm like, cool. I just always wanted to, like, that's random, but like I always wanted to like be able to teach something. So I'm teaching podcasting at UC now this semester for the first time. But back to the question about mental health, like, yeah, I just got to that point, and just like in school, you got to learn new things and like pay attention. Like that's what I just finally needed to do. And so again, it wasn't something that got fixed overnight, but I started to have those tools in my toolbox, whether it be coping mechanisms, boundaries, knowing that you can talk about your feelings, emotions, especially as a man, go to therapy, reach out to friends for help. I didn't know any of that stuff before. I would just cry by myself or get drunk by myself. And so to know that really did change and save my life. And so healthy things that I do now, like I don't drink anymore, obviously being sober, but I just love listening to music. I'm having a shitty day or a shitty moment. I don't really have shitty days anymore. I just like go drive around for 10 minutes and listen to music. That helps me. Or going to Orange Theory and working out, or calling a friend and just getting some stuff off my chest. Things like that really do work. And so I just realizing that, and I still go to therapy, I'm on medication, but like those little things can help you in moments when maybe you're not around that. So for me, that's kind of how I make sure that I stay, don't stay complacent, but stay in control of what I can control.
So what advice would you give to like high school students or college students, you know, high stress situations, going to school, if you're an athlete, you know, practicing 4 or 5 hours a day doing school? What advice would you give to those kids, you know, to stay in control, like you said, and kind of get through the tough situations?
Nothing is the end of the world. that is like something that I thought of maybe 2 or 3 months ago that I hadn't really thought of before. But like when I was 14, I had my first suicidal thought as a freshman at Lesalle. I thought that moment of getting bullied because, you know, I sent a picture to someone, she sent me a bunch of pictures. I never told anyone, didn't say anything. Right. She sent it to the whole school at a football game. And it was terrifying. It's like the worst thing that you can imagine. And this is before Snapchat and TikTok. And so like, I can't imagine what high school and college kids are going through now when it comes to, I'm just going to say it, to sexting, to different things that like happen when you get bullied online, where for me, like I couldn't handle it. And it was a really tough 2 or 3 months, but I didn't know back then that I could ask for help or that it was going to be okay or that it wasn't the end of the world. Like, so anyone that listens or watches this that has gone through that moment or is going through it now, like it is not the end of the world. At 14, or me when I was 28 2 years ago, really struggling with real life stuff, I just didn't realize it wasn't the end of the world. So that's like my kind of overarching theme that I've tried to help myself and other people with, is like nothing is the end of the world. Now you have to ask for help. You know, I think, you know, my 2 things that I always say of do something. If you're feeling a certain way, you're stressed, you're depressed, call your mom, call your best friend, talk to somebody you love, talk to a trusted adult. Also know that feelings are temporary, like nothing's forever, which is kind of like nothing's the end of the world. But those are really the 2 things, do something and feelings are temporary, that are the biggest advice that I give and that I will say like a broken record a million times. Now, I've probably said it a million times.
I agree with you, because when I was in high school and I had my first suicidal thought my senior year, I mean, my sister had kidney failure. You know, basketball was coming to an end, high school. Girlfriend broke up with me. Like I thought it was the end of the world and I was never going to get past it, you know, and I love what you said. It will be okay eventually. Just being able to get through that tough time. And then, you know, I'm big on religion. God gives his challenges to his toughest soldiers. So that's something I really stand by. It'll always be okay. Everything happens for a reason. So I really like that. And that's a good lesson for people watching. I want to go back to the podcast, interviewing people like Terry Crews, Kyle, a bunch of athletes, Sam Hubbard, a bunch of celebrities. What were your favorite celebrities you interviewed? I know you said Terry Crews, so we're not going to do that one.
Okay. But I mean, I'll tell a quick Terry story just because he's awesome.
Okay.
He is very, very genuine, and that happened like so organically where I had Nate Burleson on, who played in the NFL for a long time. He hosts CBS Morning News with Gayle King now. And we were talking about men's mental health, specifically Black men's mental health. And I'm sitting on my couch just like I am now, or chair or whatever. I'm at home, and I see a notification on Instagram. Terry Crews just commented on your video. I'm like, what the fuck? And then I open it up, and it's like real, and it's like him with fire emoji saying, right on, guys, keep talking about it. And so now I kind of, you know, I work in, you know, LA and New York a little bit, so I know the people, and so I put people in a group chat, and within, you know, a couple of weeks or maybe a month, you know, Terry invited me to come out to his house, have him on the show. And after we got done, Terry opens up for an hour. It's incredible, talking about mental health, suicidal thoughts, all this stuff that is going to help a lot of people. But at the end, off camera to the side, we're hanging out, and I just say like, hey man, thanks so much for like doing this. I appreciate you opening up, but like, it's really going to help open some doors for me when it comes to getting other people on the show too. And he's like, I did it to like help people, but I also did it to help you. Like, that's why I did it. And it's like, man, that's cool as shit. Like, this guy is like just as genuine as you see on TV or in the movies. Outside of him though, he was great. I mean, Kevin Gates was so cool. Like, that was just, you wouldn't think that that's a mental health advocate, but like, just like you and me and Terry, like he struggled with suicidal thoughts and had to reach out for help. And so getting, you know, he says one of the most powerful things I've ever heard, you know, vulnerability is a strength, not a weakness. Like, you don't have to be a tough guy about it. Like, when he, like, you can be vulnerable. You shouldn't use that against you if you're a man. And so that stands out for me. The personal one, though, is probably the favorites I've talked about, like music. My favorite artist is Mark E. Basie, who, for people that don't know, he's an R&B singer. He's had a couple of big songs, but he was like the second artist on the track. So like G-Eazy, very famous rapper. G-Eazy's top 2 songs, Mark's the one singing on them. Some Kind of Drug, and I forget what the other one's called. But I'm, you know, his song Feel Different, I probably listened to 2 million times. When I was sitting on the bridge and I'm crying when I was going through stuff. And so I got to have him on the show, maybe like the 4th or 5th guest, my first time ever in Hollywood. And it was a really emotional conversation. It was really cool. Like, his music saved my life. And then afterwards, he like looks at me. He goes, yeah, like we hung out at his place. He's like, you want to go to the studio and like listen to music? I'm like, well, he's like, I got a new album. It's out for like 8 months. It's not out for like 8 months. We'll listen to it. It's like me and my favorite artist just like going back and forth. That's the coolest thing I've ever experienced with the show. Cause like, I wish I could bottle that up and give it to everybody with their favorite artists, because music is healing. Like people write those songs because they went through the same things as you. And that was the coolest thing for me, I think.
Yeah, man. Listening to a pre-recorded album, it's not released yet. That's kind of dope.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I can't even. My favorite artist is Travis Scott.
Okay.
But his music is more like,
he's got some. I mean, he got party songs and like trap songs, but he's got a couple that.
Yeah, I'm like shifting to more of the R&B slow songs. You know, not so much headbanging. You know,
you got to have some rhythm if you're going R&B. Do you got rhythm?
No, I can't.
Okay,
dance.
all right.
My dad will tell you, my sister will tell you, I cannot dance.
We'll work on that then.
You got some moves?
Yeah, I did. Not a lot of people know this. I did. I guess I quit sports in 7th grade and did competitive hip hop for a couple of years. Yeah, people made fun of me at school, like all the dudes. I'm like, look, I'm going to hang out with 30 girls after school. You guys are going to football practice. Like, I don't give a shit.
Dude, I would love to learn like how to dance for real. Cause you at a bar or something? Or
dude, it does help. I mean, I have zero game now. I've been single since everything happened, but like, yeah, I mean, if you can dance, it does help a little bit.
Yeah. Oh man.
I can moonwalk. We're on carpet now, so we won't do it, but I'll show you.
We'll show you.
Yeah, I will.
So, with your podcast, who's your like one guest that you want to interview, like your dream guest to have on the podcast?
Probably, I get this all the time, and I give like 3 normally. Probably like
top 3.
Top 3. This will be in no order, and it's gonna give you like 4, like Barack Obama, Taylor Swift, and then like one of the Justins, like Bieber, Timberlake. I don't think there's any other Justins that fit that category, but those 4 are just like, I don't know, they're some of the biggest stars or biggest people in the world. And that means it's not so I can get famous. It's so that we can help way more people. I really hope that I can get, Joe Burrow on at some point, maybe soon, since we've done some work together with his foundation and his parents, but like just having people that have these big fan bases, letting their fans know that, hey, they go through the same shit that you and I just talked about. It does make a difference. It's proven. I've seen it. When I had Terry on, he had never talked about suicide before publicly, and reading those comments and seeing it get like 1.4 or 5 million views, and like knowing that it helped so many people go to therapy for the first time. That's what I want like people to do. That's what I want to be able to give people when their favorite artist or favorite musician player comes on the show. So like I figured it out now. Like, I mean, I get no's. I can show you my emails where I get no's all the time. That's fine. But like, I know how to get in contact with everybody, and I'm one person away from them. Like, I promise one day those people will be on the show. It might be in a year, it might be in 5 years, but I'm gonna keep trying.
How do you handle those no's? Like when you're trying to schedule all these big names. How does that?
It's tough, man.
Affect you?
Yeah, I would say this. Like today has been a shitty day. Like I probably sat at my desk and sent out like, and they don't all happen at once, but some days they do. And I've probably sent out maybe 40, 50 pitches today, and just immediately like right away. And you can tell now that I've done it. I know like when they've really asked the person, they're just saying no right away. And what it hurts when you've built it and like you have. Like my dream was to host the Tonight Show. I feel like I'm doing that my own way. I'm literally having some of the same guests that are on the Tonight Show. And then you have some publicists or managers that say no. It does hurt you a little bit, but like I can have my 5 minutes, play ping pong, or like listen to music real quick and just kind of decompress. But yeah, I mean, it gets to you when you have moments like Terry or Kevin or Kate Flannery, or, whenever Joe Burrow is going to tell me yes, like those are victories. Like that's when it's like, okay, and guess what? At some point, I'm about to move to LA. There's so many people out there. I'm trying to get as many as I can as soon as I move there. Like eventually people are, and it's already started, people are asking to come on the show. But like those no's are eventually, you're not going to hear them anymore. And so just getting through it, like I give people that do sales jobs all the time, like credit. I don't know how you do it for so long. It was so much easier being a local sports reporter when like everyone wanted to be on the news. Now it's like, I'm working with the biggest stars in the world, and it's like, they got other shit to do out in Hollywood or on tour. And so, yeah, today was shitty. It was a lot of no's. I won't say names, but like people that you think would be all about it, their managers are just like, yeah, no.
Do you think that's more on the managers, like you said, like
yeah,
just saying no?
It's like, a game, like, and that's the thing too, is that if someone sees it organically, like Terry did, they will come on, and then when their manager goes to them, they'll fight for it right away and say, yeah, I'm doing that, I don't care.
Right.
If it doesn't get to them, that's the hard part. And so for me, it's there's so many like ins and outs to it. I won't bore you with it, but like there's a strategy with how you pitch, who you talk to. A lot of them have the same manager, same agent, so you got to space it out. But I can get in contact with anyone. So if you want to like email somebody after this, I can. Yeah, we can. Who's your favorite celebrity? Probably Travis Scott.
I mean, I like Drake, but Drake's up there.
Yeah. I can get you his publicist contact info.
We could try it.
We won't. I don't think we'll get anywhere.
No, probably not with Drake.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like a more low key guy.
I'll go big, dude. I do.
Bryson Tiller. I like him.
He'd be cool. He's from Louisville too. I don't think maybe I've reached out to him. You're gonna give me a name to do after this.
Okay. All right.
He's got a new album coming out, I think.
He does.
Soon. Yeah.
He's going on tour.
Okay.
Cincinnati.
Is he?
Soon. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Am I still gonna be here? When is it?
I think it's over the summer.
Oh, and then I'll be gone.
Could be wrong.
Tough. But yeah, no, the no's do hurt. It's just you gotta just say screw it. And keep sending the other ones, and when those yeses come in, it'll be fun.
All right, wrapping it up. March Madness right now.
Yeah.
Final Four: NC State, Purdue, Alabama, UConn. I need your predictions for this weekend.
So Purdue was known for a long time to me as Purdue, because like last year I made like $200 and then losing the first round. Yeah. It was awesome. One of my best friends, Donovan, that was a huge Purdue fan, and as this long-suffering Cincinnati fan, I feel I'm really happy for him. So like on the emotional side, I would like Purdue to win for him. And just, I mean, like it's a good comeback story, kind of like Virginia when they lost and then came back and won it the next year. But I think it's going to be UConn. Like,
they look.
Xavier fans are going to hate to hear that, but like UConn's going to be the national champion, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I was hoping for Kentucky. You know, I'm a Kentucky fan, but another year of suffering, and hopefully next.
Was that the first? Yeah, it was the first round to Oakland. The Jack, what's his name? The kid that was making all the threes.
Yeah, I forget his last name.
He's got like Buffalo Wild Wings ads and stuff now. He's killing it.
He was doing commercials the day after the game.
Yeah,
it was crazy.
Jack G. I forget what his last name is.
Yeah, I forget it too.
But yeah, no, I think UConn's the real deal. The kid from NC State's awesome.
Oh, DJ Burns.
Yeah,
I honestly think NC State's gonna win, but that's just my prediction. DJ Burns is a problem.
How tall is he?
He's like 6'10".
Okay.
But he weighs like 300 pounds.
Yeah,
so he could battle with Edey.
Yeah. I mean, I always said that Edey was like, I don't know. I felt like he came back, and I thought that was dumb in the time. Like, go to the NBA, you're this talented. But like looking back, I think we made the right decision, because a lot of times last year, if you just double teamed him, he got bullied and like would turn it over, or like now he's like. He's not messing around. Like, he just throws it down every time.
He's getting every foul call though. Let's see. My roommates know I'm not a big Zach Edey fan.
Yeah.
Because I don't think he's that skilled, but that's just my opinion. But I want to say that.
But mental health, we love you, Zach.
Yes. Sorry, Zach, if you're watching, if this finds you. But I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to interview you.
Yeah, for sure, dude.
It was great. And then just giving me this chance. It was awesome. When you texted back and said, yeah, we could do an episode, it meant a lot, being an inspiration of mine.
Thank you, dude. Well, thank you for doing this and helping other people. Like, people tell me that, I guess the flip side when I'm hosting it, and it's like the best compliment you can get, because you might, my first few episodes didn't get a lot of downloads or views, and yours might not either. Maybe they do. I don't know. I'm just saying, like, even if it helps one person, a kid at Turpin that, was a freshman when you were a senior and follows you, like, that makes a difference. And you're coaching now at Turpin too. Like, give yourself credit for that. Like, you're helping other people around you, but also like you're helping yourself too, which I love.
I appreciate that. All righty, everybody. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you on the next episode.